Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today we have another incredible guest for you guys. His name is Dom Walsh. He actually reached out to me. He's all the way in Thailand and he had a huge transformation. He used to be a heavy meat eating athlete and he has now gone fruitarian with such big results that he wanted to share his story. So here we are. You're all the way in Thailand and you don't like artificial light. So that's why you were saying you have your salt light on, right?
Yeah, I cannot stand the artificial light. That's another conversation. Um, had a lot of problems trying to get to sleep at night, and I think artificial light in the evenings, especially after the sun goes down, is a very big issue for that. So
Yeah, it
salt
probably
lamps.
messes with like our natural rhythm and stuff, right? Who knows? So you're really taking your health to the next level. So were you always this way? I guess not, right? Because take us back. You're 33 now. You used to be a
Yeah.
heavy meat eater. I don't know, like let us know how you used to eat and what led you to a fruit only diet.
So it's quite an interesting story. So like I used to play professional rugby league. It's a sport in Australia. It's not rugby union, like a lot of Americans and Canadians are familiar with. It's rugby league. And I was always the skinny little white kid. So I was playing with a lot of big Samoans and Tongans, Pacific Islander guys, and they were really big. And to be in that sport, you need to be big. So I was looking at every way possible to get big. I didn't really care. I mean, I wanted to be healthy, obviously, but I was more focused on getting big and strong. I had no idea about gut health. I had no idea about alkalinity, enzymes, or any of that. I just wanted to be big. So I was thinking, okay, the health and fitness industry is saying you've got to have protein. So I'm thinking protein. Okay, that means eating animals. So I ate everything and anything you can think of to get big. Animals, carbs, like bread, pasta, rice, protein powders, everything. And I got really big. I was very strong, very big. And I think I sent did I send you that photo of me when I
Yeah,
was
you
18?
did. So I put that up at the beginning, probably when I was saying, and then I'll try put it on the screen again right now. So you were pretty big. Do you know like your measurements? So that was when you were heavy into the meat eating and
Yeah. So I was probably, I'm not sure what it is in pounds, but I was about 105 kilos. So now I'm about 68 kilos. And I know there's a big difference between kilos and pounds. But yeah, I was big. And from then, I stopped doing that sport, and all I wanted to do then was just get lean. So I continued on just having sort of eating animals and just having the whole what everyone in the fitness industry says to do, eating animals and whatnot. And then it got to a point, probably I would say in 2013, I went vegan, but it wasn't the raw vegan. It was the cooked food kind of Bill Gates vegan, I suppose you could call it. Just
Mhm,
having, I still had no idea about gut health or anything like that.
mhm.
I would just thought, okay, eating animals, I didn't want to do that anymore. It didn't align with me. So I did that for probably around from 2013, I would say, to 2021. And after a while, I started to listen to a few people online. I noticed I had a lot of bloating. Like when I ate, I was bloating and I just had some discomfort in my gut a lot of the time as well.
Mhm.
And I was like, okay, what's going on here? So then I started to look into it. I actually, went on YouTube and I watched a bunch of people, started to get all these different perceptions and everything like this, and discovered, the carnivore diet and whatnot. And I was like, oh, okay. So a lot of people are saying that they've healed from this carnivore diet. I'll give that a go. So I went back to eating
Wow.
meat, yeah, to try this out,
Yeah.
and did the whole raw dairy thing, pretty much everything that these people preaching the carnivore diet speak about. And I actually noticed a lot of difference, but what I discovered is that the reason I was experiencing these differences, these benefits, I suppose you could call what I thought were benefits at the time, was because, see, what I've recently discovered is the carnivore diet. The reason people feel better on it, it's not the diet itself that's doing the work; it's their body. The carnivore diet is an elimination diet,
Mhm,
right? So you
mhm.
go from eating everything, like you think about it, we're the only species on the planet that mixes all of these different types of food. We mix fruits with vegetables, with
True.
spices, salt,
Mhm.
with sugar, dairy. We're mixing all of this stuff, and it's creating havoc in our gut. And people have diseases. They have autoimmune issues. They have skin issues. They have bloating. They have constipation. But what I discovered, and what a lot of people I think don't know, I didn't know this at the time. These aren't these. There's nothing wrong with you. These are just side effects. They're all just side effects of an unhealthy, blocked GI tract, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
So when I went on the carnivore, when people go on the carnivore diet, it's an elimination diet. So they're not mixing as many foods. It's similar to the fruitarian diet because you're eliminating everything and you're just having animals, meat.
Mhm.
So, but obviously this meat is causing our bodies to be extremely acidic. It's clogging us up more and more and more, but we don't realize that at the time. We're just focused on what we don't have anymore. People might not have eczema anymore because they've gone on this diet. They've eliminated gluten and wheat, and they're not mixing sugars with fats, or they're not mixing spices or anything,
Mhm.
whatever's causing
Yeah.
the inflammation, the disease. So they've eliminated a lot. But what they don't realize is that this diet is, clogging them up, causing more waste and mucoid plaque in their GI tract. So after a while on this diet, I started to feel very dehydrated. I was always thirsty. The salt, I just got, what is going on? Like I just felt salt was
Mhm.
in my body. I was always craving fruit. I was always craving
Hmm.
um, sugar. And I realized something like this doesn't feel right. This like, and when you really think about it, you go back to a human being. What are our natural instincts?
Mhm.
If you're in the wild, okay, so you think of it a child, okay, so that they're as close as to instincts as you possibly can get. They eat when they want to eat, and they want what they want. Okay, so from the moment we're born, our taste buds are so manipulated, they're so infiltrated. So I believe human beings, I believe we are frugivores, from everything that I've experienced myself and
Mhm.
everything. When you go back to your instincts, you think about, we're attracted to color. If you're
Mhm.
in the wild, okay, if you see a dead cow on the side of the road, there's not many children that have a desire to go up and start eating that cow raw, with the fur, with the blood and the organs, nor do they have the jawline to do so. However, if they see fresh, vibrant tropical fruit, mangoes, strawberries, blueberries, papaya, it's color. We're instinctively attracted to that color. We're drawn
Mhm.
to it. And not only that, it's going to hydrate our cells, it's going to alkalize us, and it's the only food on the planet that doesn't cause our body any side effects. Literally every other food you can possibly eat and think of has some side effects. Some have a lot more than others.
Mhm.
And as you would know, Gillian, when you do go raw, and especially on a fruit-based diet or a juice cleanse or a water fast, something happens to you spiritually that you can't put into words.
Mhm.
People ask you, what is it? How does it make you feel? You can't put it into words. You have to experience it. And there is definitely a connection, the old term mind, body, spirit, it's all connected. It is most definitely all connected. And when I started to look into this, I was already I guess kind of on the spirit side, becoming conscious, becoming aware of my thoughts, getting into a lot of meditation, a lot of connecting to nature, a lot of grounding, getting a lot of sunlight. I was starting to, you
Mhm.
know, wanting to be the best and healthiest version of myself. And obviously, the way I was eating was, I guess, the last piece of the puzzle to connect. And once I started to go fruitarian, I definitely noticed change, but I still had a lot of discomfort in my gut. I was bloating still a lot, and I would have a lot of fruit and it just wasn't digesting. It wasn't going through like effortlessly. Like I would listen to these people who are already on this life path, and pretty much they were regular, they were having bowel movements, almost after every meal. And I was like, okay, well, something's wrong here. I'm not experiencing that. Then I discovered the big thing, which I think is the least spoken about topic in not only the nutrition industry, the health industry, but also the spiritual community, pretty much all industries, raw vegan community. It's the excess waste that's stuck in our
Mm.
GI tract, the mucoid plaque. And I honestly think going through this experience firsthand, once this gets spoken about properly, how to remove it and really focused on by an individual, because the individual's got to obviously want to do it. It's not easy, it's a lot of work. We've had a lot of junk food in our lives. We've had a lot of it as a kid because we didn't know any better and our parents didn't know any better. This information is
Mhm.
just not out. It's nowhere. I've looked, there's only a very few people talking about it. I think Shane Sterling talks about it a little
Shane
bit.
talks about it a lot. Yeah. You're right.
Uh,
There's not too many people talking about it. And a lot of people think it's bogus. A lot of people just think like, oh, we don't have waste inside of us. Like, but like I interview people on juice cleanses or doing cleanses and they're getting like waste out on day like 100 still. And they say they get like all this waste out, like so much. Sometimes people just release like, 10 pounds of it in a day or something. It's crazy. And then they say they feel euphoric. And it does make sense that we hold on to these things after decades of eating stuff that is so hard to break down inside of us, right?
Most definitely. Not just the way we've been eating. I mean, everything like the cooked food, the processed food, exposure to toxins, it
Mhm.
all adds up. It all makes you know, that waste just sit there. And once you start extracting it, that's when the true health can start, because that's when you can eat the fruit or the smoothies, whatever you're having, and that's when you're going to absorb the nutrients from the fruit. That's when the nourishment really starts. Okay. You can have as much fruit as you want or as much juice as you want. But if you're full of plaque, it doesn't matter how much you have, you're not going to get hydrated.
And you know what?
Okay.
That just reminds me, it's because I just clipped out something from one of Shane's interviews with me. It kind of like just makes me think as like something Shane would probably say, like that's probably too when you like reclaim your consciousness too, and you start to feel more like your true self and feel more spiritual. And you've been on so many different lifestyles, right? From, carnivore, standard American to a vegan diet to a carnivore diet to a raw vegan diet to a fruitarian diet. And do you find on like the raw foods, the living foods, you do feel drastically more connected and spiritual than I'm guessing it must have been a big difference, right? Than eating a heavy meat diet or eating carnivore, like the way you felt, like spiritually and even just energy wise, like which one of those diets made you feel you say, like we just take out all the science or all the like this or that, like what diet made you feel the best? Whether it's right or wrong, like what diet made you feel the best and what diet made you feel more spiritual and more like yourself?
100 million percent the raw food diet, especially the fruitarian diet,
Mhm.
more or less. I mean, when I say fruitarian, fruit based, I mean, I still have simple salads and things like that. But there's even another level beyond the raw vegan diet, I think, as well. Raw vegan food tastes absolutely amazing. I love it. Going to a raw vegan cafe and having a nice, raw vegan pizza or raw vegan tacos and things like that. But I think there's also another level you can go to in terms of that spiritual evolvement and feeling within you, and also health. And I think that's the elimination of salt and going lower fat
Mhm.
raw vegan and more water filled raw vegan. So more fruits, less salt and less fat. And look, don't get me
Mhm.
wrong, I know we all love salt, but this is the thing. And people will notice this after they do a water fast, especially once you do a water fast, okay, and you go back to drinking juice or having fruits again, and simple salads, with tomato, avocado, lemon juice. It's just crazy how addicted we are to salt and
Mhm.
how salt is not meant to be in our body. And as you would know as well, when you go on this lifestyle, right, you might try cooked food one time or just have a little bit just to see how it makes you feel. And you notice straight away, this stuff is not meant to be in my body. This
Yeah.
cooked food,
Every
I can
time.
feel it.
Anytime I've tested that out over the past almost 8 years, it's the same thing. It's the same thing, yeah. I do consume salt though. with my raw food, sometimes I do consume salt. I didn't used to, but I mean, I could try without and see if I notice a difference. But yeah, totally with the cooked food. So you feel so how long have you been eating raw for? How long has it been since you gave up the cooked food?
So I gave up cooked food, I would say late last year. I think November
Mhm.
or maybe October last year.
Okay.
And yeah, I did some juice cleanses as well, did some water fasting, and I recently just gave up salt as well and have
Mhm.
been experimenting another sort of like going lower fat. Because I don't get me wrong, I love salt. We love salt, and that's because again with the sugar and the candy is when we're kids,
Yeah,
our senses have been so manipulated with the candy and salt on everything. There,
true.
you look at the ingredients in everything; it's everything contains salt. People can't eat anything without having salt, and if they do, they don't want it because they can't taste it.
Mhm.
And when you really break it down, we're the only species on this planet that uses salt, that cooks food. And we're the, I mean, one of the only species that has all the health problems that we have. And we're all dehydrated and we age.
Mhm.
What I noticed the difference really is once I cut out salt. So I cut out salt probably about, I would say, 2 months ago. Your skin, something happens with your skin. Like it's just so much more hydrated. Your complexion looks so much better. You feel so much better. And you can actually taste like when you have a raw salad, for example, with
Mhm.
say lime juice, avocado, just really simple. You can taste everything. Like
Mhm.
your taste buds come back. And this happens a lot after a fast as well. See, when we do a water fast, everything resets. Our cells reset and our taste buds reset. And I think this is the golden time after a water fast, the golden ticket, because you're going to go back to having fruits and you're going to be so thankful for the taste of these
Mhm.
fruits.
True,
Going to be
because otherwise people try them and maybe they're just like, "Oh, it doesn't taste good enough. I miss the other foods," or and it takes time for the taste buds and stuff too, right?
100%,
Yeah.
100%.
And
Yeah.
okay,
And
so what benefits did you notice when you went to the raw food? Like, did you have any major health problems on any of these lifestyles? And like, what were the main benefits? Like, what anything that blew you away? Like, what were all the what basically like what happened overall when you took this lifestyle on of only raw food?
so that a fair few things happen. I haven't had any major health problems, I should
Mhm.
say, or major diseases, but I had issues, like skin issues, bloating,
Mm.
constipation sometimes, brain fog, like just unwanted emotions as well, I suppose you could call it. And
Mhm.
yeah, everything just you feel how can I explain it? You know what it's like. It's so hard to put it into words, but you feel like your authentic self again. You feel
Yeah.
like you come back to yourself and you realize that simple is better, less is better. The less food, the less amount of different types of food combinations. I learned about food combining and how important that is as well. There's so much to this. There's so many layers to this, and I think it really depends on the individual and how far they want to go and what sort of commitment they want to make to themselves and where their intention is of getting to on a health basis. And
Yeah.
uh, everything is perception.
Yeah,
Everyone's
and
got
you're right, and yeah, the brain fog, that was a big thing for me, like, before when I ate the standard American diet, when I first gave up gluten and started, like, cutting out a few things, that's when I noticed, like, wow, I didn't even realize how much brain fog I had until I removed those items, and then, like you said too, when I went raw, that's when I truly felt like my real self, my higher self for the first time in my life. It was like I'd been searching for that feeling before through alcohol and through foods and, like, other things, and you never quite reach it. But then when I went fully raw, literally very quickly, I felt like my highest self, my best self. So that's what it did for me too. It's so amazing, right?
It is amazing, and it just shows us too how we're so programmed to always seek outside of ourselves. We're programmed to think if we don't have this, you're going to be unhappy. We need to be at a gathering, we need to be around people. If we're sick, we need the medication. God is outside of us. I mean, I'm not going to get
Yeah.
into
True though.
now,
You're
but
so right. Yeah. We are so programmed for that, right? Yeah, exactly. Money, success, this, like everything outside of ourselves. Yeah. And
we're all
you
seeking and
mentioned
food.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
And you mentioned you were talking about people, so I was just gonna ask you, like, socially, how have you managed on this lifestyle? Like, do you still feel as socially fulfilled? Have the people around you changed? Have they been judgmental? Like, "What are you doing? You're gonna get deficient." Like, how has that sort of thing played in for you in this journey?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, like you said, you hit the nail on the head before. This way of living, I like to call it, it brings you back to yourself, and it makes you realize that everything that you need is right here. That was a big lesson for me, like once I cleared everything up, I realized that, people might have different opinions about what you're doing or how you're living, but and the old me, the old part of us, that program cares about what other people think or it cares what they're going to say. But once you come back to yourself, your true authentic self, nothing else matters. The only person that you need to impress or the only person that is
Mhm.
I guess, how do you say it? That you need to come back to and answer to is yourself.
Mhm.
Um, it's what you think about yourself that truly matters. Everyone else, I mean, I
True.
love people, love other people, but at the end of the day, it's how I view myself that truly matters. I believe.
Mhm. I
Yeah,
love that.
in answer to your question, yes. I mean, people will always have something to say, but the way I see it is people are doing the best they can with the
Mhm.
level of awareness that they have. So
Mhm.
some people for it, and again, this all comes back to perception on health. Someone could be very big and strong, go to the gym every day. I mean, but they're having their bullet coffee in the morning, their
Mhm.
pre-workout, their animals in the afternoon, and they're going to look at themselves in the mirror and go, "I'm healthy." But this is the thing: you don't realize what you're in until you're out of it, and
It's so
it's
true. It's
like,
like a bad relationship. A lot of people say, like, they didn't even realize until they were out of it, and it's the same thing with, like, how we choose to eat and everything too, right? That's just so well said. I've never I don't think I've heard too many people put it that way, but that's really bang on. That's really, really accurate.
yeah, and it's just like what you said, like if you have cooked food now, you can feel it. You can
Mhm.
feel it. You can feel it
Yeah, but
dehydrating you.
otherwise you don't feel it, right? If you're just having it all the time. That's like when I used to have bread and gluten products all day long for decades, right? And they said, "Oh, maybe you're celiac," when they were trying to determine my health problems. I thought, "What's that?" And then when I removed it, I the brain fog was like drastic difference. My anxiety levels, drastic differences. I was like, "What the heck?" And then it wasn't until it being out of my body that I realized. And then if I did have it by accident, it totally I would get so sick after it being removed. So, yeah, a lot of times you don't realize what type of fog or what type of negativity or what you're really in until you, like, make a change and get out of it, you know?
100%. You hit the nail on the head. And the other thing too is there's definitely a way to do this that is going to make life a lot easier on the individual. And I think the most important thing people need to understand is to truly thrive on this way of being, the first step is to really focus on the detox and getting this plaque out of our GI tract. Because once you do this, you're going to absorb all the nutrients from all the raw food that you eat, and you're not going to have discomfort. See, a lot of reasons why people I see fail, I guess you could say, on a raw vegan diet, or they go back to what they were doing before, is because say, for example, you have someone on the carnivore diet and they're so clogged up, they're full of plaque because of all the meat they've been having, they're full of waste, and they start having all
Mhm.
this fiber, they're just going to bloat. They're going to get a lot of discomfort and they're going to think to themselves, oh, this feels horrible. And they're going to have obviously detox symptoms as well because all of this, acid is coming out of them and they're going to feel horrible and they're
Mhm.
going to go to the food that caused the damage in the first place. So I think it's just so important. Like people, once they realize that most of their diseases that they have, or ailments or autoimmune issues that they have, it's not a part of you. These are just side effects. You're just experiencing side effects from an unhealthy GI tract. And once we clean this GI tract up, once we get your body nice and clean and alkalined, that's when the real health starts, I believe.
True, good point. People need to realize, like, that takes time, right? Like, the gut microbiome has to change, things have to change, but it does take time and, like, you can get there. And I wanna ask you too, like, how has your life overall changed as a result of becoming a raw foodist or a raw vegan? Like, how has, because I see a lot of people, like, even for me, my whole life, I've become a YouTuber, I've done all these things, like, I'm in my passion, my purpose, my whole circle of friends, my whole life has changed just because I started really truly, like, taking care of myself, and it's changed all areas of my life. So has that been the case for you? Like, were you in Thailand before? Have you relocated there because of raw food? Or, like, how has your life changed because of this?
You hit the nail on the head right there. I basically used to chase adrenaline and, I surf, I used to chase big waves. Now I chase the tropical fruit.
I
It's all
love
about
it.
where's the fruit? Where's but I truly believe anyway, human beings are tropical creatures. If you
Mhm,
think about the only place we could survive naked in our true authentic self naked, I suppose you could say, is in the tropics.
mhm.
Um, but yeah, I love being in the tropics. I love having coconuts and abundance of fresh, ripe fruit around. And as they say, as within, so without. So, your outside world is going to be a reflection of your inside world. Everything's just calmer now. My nervous system is calmer. I mean, I suppose that is a combination as well from a lot of the meditation and breath work that I do, but the diet just adds that final piece to the puzzle. It just raises you to that other level, and I think as you would know, someone could be doing a lot of yoga and a lot of meditation and they think they're in this the highest vibration they could be and they couldn't rise any higher than what they're in now. But if they went raw or if they cleansed their GI tract and, started to eat more raw foods and go on the fruit, you go to another level that you've just never experienced before. And that
Yeah,
you be able to put into words, you have to experience it. It's like anything. You won't know until you experience it.
so true. And what did you do to cleanse? Like, take us through. I think you like, so did you, what was sort of your cleansing process? What did it look like?
So my cleansing process, I did a combination of things.
Mhm,
I did some juice cleanses and I did some water fasts as well.
mhm,
And obviously a lot of eating a lot of fruit. And there are different ways, obviously, you can cleanse, and some are a lot more potent and effective and quicker than others. It
mhm.
just depends, I suppose, where you're willing to get to, how quickly you want to get there, and what you're willing to tolerate. So, for example, I think, in my personal opinion, and Lauren Lockman talks a lot about this as well, I believe the fastest way to get this plaque out and cleanse is a water fast. Obviously, people are living very busy lifestyles, and they're working, they've got kids, and they just can't do a water fast.
Yeah,
It's
but
just
if
not.
you can, I like how with him, I think it's safer to go to a place like that, do it supervised, especially if you're gonna do a longer one, like, be careful with that, but you're right, a lot of people can't. That's where I think juice cleansing can be good, right? Is that what you're about to say? I did 37 days, totally changed my life, and yeah, that's something you can do with kids. I do that with my kids, and but even if you can't do those types of cleanses, even just eating the raw food, if that's the best you can do, like, over time, that's still gonna help and cleanse you too, wouldn't you say? Like, in my opinion, yes.
100%. Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head there. Juice cleansing is definitely the next best thing you can do. And that's a lot more practical for a lot of people with their
Mhm,
lifestyles and having kids because it's not really fasting. You're still getting calories, you're still getting glucose. So you're still going to be able to operate. You'll still be able to exercise and work and be switched on. And then, yeah, answer to your other question, raw foods will definitely help as well. I guess it depends on how quickly and how efficiently the person wants to get there, and that all
mhm,
comes down to the individual. But it all helps. The more enzymes, the more water, the more raw living foods you can put through your GI tract,
mhm.
it's going to start to eat like cleanse away at this waste that's in that GI tract for sure.
Yeah, and you've been through a lot on this whole journey. Like, you're 33 now, you've learned a lot through all these different lifestyles and all this spiritual work. What would you say are the 3 greatest lessons you've learned in health? Like, what comes to mind is, like, if you were to leave these 3 important facts behind about health, or 3 major things to share to somebody just tuning in who doesn't know about any of all this, like, what are those 3 things?
Okay, that's a very, hard question to answer, but I'll do my best. I would say number one, always think back to your instincts as a child.
Mm,
Number one, for example, would a three like you put a 3-year-old in a crib with a bunny rabbit and some blueberries and some let's say let's just give the bunny rabbit and the blueberries thing. What's the 3-year-old going to do? Is he
mhm,
going to kill the bunny rabbit and eat it, or is he going to play with the bunny rabbit and eat the blueberries? Always go back to your instincts. What makes you feel good? Number two, just become very aware of what you personally feel that you can't live without, and just sit with that. So, for example, if you had to give up salt tomorrow, what would that do to you? If you had
mhm,
to give up coffee tomorrow, what would that do to you? If you had to give up cooked food tomorrow, what would that do to you? How would that make you feel? And would you be able to, I guess, go raw? And if the answer's no, I couldn't do that, then that's when you know that you need to clean your body. I think the harder it is for someone to not live without something that they're consuming, that's when you know that you really need your body needs work. It's crying out for you, and you've got to answer that call.
mhm.
And I would say number three is, I guess, biologically, look at your jawline and look at our GI tract, what we're designed to eat, where our jawline is specifically designed to eat fruit, and our intestinal digestive system, fruit is the only food that won't cause it any side effects. And it's the only food that's going to hydrate you, and it's going to
True.
deliver nutrients.
True.
Yeah.
I just can't believe some people avoid fruit because even though I don't eat only fruit, I eat all raw and like a huge variety. Like to
Yeah.
me, that is the easiest thing to digest. Literally. It's just so like that would be like one of the top or the top thing in my opinion meant for our body because it's so easy to digest, so high in water content. Depending on the fruit, in most cases, you don't need a bunch of water after drinking it or after eating it. It's just so in alignment with us. So I don't really see how anybody can knock fruit. I mean, to each their own, but like I think fruit is just one of the best things ever. And as a fruitarian, what's your favorite fruit?
Oh, that's a very tough question. Um, oh God. Yeah, can I name a few? I can't name one. I just
Oh, yeah. Even your top 3, like, what are some of your
I
favorites as a fruitarian? And maybe
uh,
take us through, like, what do you eat in a typical day? Because I know people will wonder that.
sure. Okay, so my top fruits would be durian, mango, dragon fruit, watermelon, pineapple, and papaya.
Mhm,
Um, so in a day, what I will generally do is, and I think this is going to make a huge difference to people as well on their cleansing journey and also overall health, is I always have the wateriest fruits first, and then I'll
mhm,
end the day with the densest fruits.
mhm,
Um, so for example, I'll usually start off the day with a juice, whether it be like a pineapple juice or an orange juice or something in the Nama. I love the
mhm.
Nama.
It's the best.
And the best. And then I'll usually have some watermelon after that, and then I'll have some papaya.
Mhm.
I in my personal opinion, I think watermelon and, like, say for example, someone didn't want to do a juice cleanse, watermelon and papaya are two of the best fruits to really cleanse the GI tract.
Yeah, I've done both. I did a watermelon cleanse once. I felt amazing, and you can feast. You can eat so much of it. You don't have to, like, fast or limit yourself. You eat a lot, and I think when I was in Costa Rica, I did a papaya because papaya is my favorite food. I have a kids book, and I even named it Princess Papaya's ABCs of Happy Foods. It, like, teaches kids about real foods because papaya is just so underrated. It tastes so good. I don't eat it with the seeds, but here in Toronto, it is hard. I haven't seen a really good ripe papaya in a like years. So you're lucky. Thailand, the fruit quality is probably pretty good. But yeah, papaya is really good.
Yeah, papaya is amazing, and you're right. I am very very fortunate to be here, and I just thank you. So, thank God every day to be able to be here and have this amazing abundant fruit, and papaya as well too. You're probably aware of this as well. The seeds
Mhm.
are amazing to clear out the parasites, so it's
Yeah.
just got so many benefits. So yeah, that's usually the start of the day, and then I'll usually end the day with either I'll usually have a raw salad, or I will have some dragon fruit, mango, and durian. So that's generally a typical day.
Nice.
Uh, and I'll usually have, and I think this is a really big one too. We're also programmed to always think we need to have breakfast, lunch, and dinner. We want to eat at these times. And again, you go back to your instincts as a child. Kids don't want breakfast most of the time. They generally get
Oh,
hungry.
yeah.
They get hungry around 11 or 12, and then they want to feast in the afternoon when they come home from school. And I really thought back to that, and I was like, that makes so much sense because um, at nighttime, that's when your body, it's time for the digestive system to rest and rejuvenate itself and start healing. So I usually don't eat that late. I usually have an eating window. I don't have meals, I suppose you could say. I just have an eating window, a 4 hour eating window. So
Hmm.
I'll have all of that food in usually a 4.5 hour eating window, and sort of feast on that. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And in Thailand, is life or like is everything a lot cheaper? Do you notice a big difference? And is like the quality of life better? You like it there? You glad you moved there?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I sort of move around a little bit. Like I also spent some time in Hawaii and Tahiti as well, and Indonesia. I just love the tropics. I love it, and I really think human beings, we thrive in the tropics.
Mhm.
Like in a warm climate, I just feel so much better.
I
And
know.
you're 100% right about the quality here. Like you can taste the quality, the flavors, the colors of the fruit here,
Yeah.
and the abundance of it. Like there are fruit stands everywhere. You know, in a like Australia, for example, where I'm from, and probably very similar to America and Canada
Same.
as well. You got to go to the supermarket, and the fruit's usually been shipped from somewhere.
Yeah.
So
The quality
it's
is different. That's why part of the reason I'm strongly considering leaving Toronto to move and somewhere more not totally tropical, but I mean, well, Miami. And I think it'll be perfect because I can still do all this there and have the tropical fruit. And you mentioned Hawaii. I'm so excited. I'm actually going there next week for the first time ever. I'm so excited. So that'll be good too.
which
Yeah.
island?
Kauai. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right.
Oh, yeah,
Kauai. Yeah.
that's the prettiest. You're gonna love
Yeah.
it.
So it's amazing. I'm going there to do some big interviews. So subscribe for that, you guys, so you don't miss those. That's gonna be really good. And what else was I gonna ask you? There's so much to ask you. So what if somebody says, well, where do you get your protein or where do you get your B12? What about these things that might be missing? Like, what do you think about all that?
That's a really good question. And I think that's also one of the biggest things that's missing from a lot of the health industry as well. So I found this out for myself as well, is I believe that we get low in certain vitamins and minerals. Again, I'll go back to it. I know I keep bringing it up, but because of the waste, because of the plaque. So
Yeah.
when our gut is clogged, and when the GI tract isn't working and we're not absorbing our nutrients properly, that's when we start becoming deficient in vitamins. But I believe the human body alone is beyond comprehension of how intelligent it is.
Mm-hmm.
And these vitamins and minerals, the body produces itself if it's in a healthy state, if the GI tract is clear and we're absorbing nutrients from our food and our cells are getting hydrated.
Mm-hmm.
So B12, I really do believe the body produces plenty of B12 as long as everything is cleansed and everything is alkaline and everything is smooth flowing.
True. That
Um,
makes sense. Yeah. I mean, yeah, that does make sense, that theory. I think it totally makes sense. Because I do
all
see
I,
some people, like I personally supplement, I don't know, like, but also in my raw vegan journey, I started in 2016 and I never like fully like cleansed the first few years, not until later on after I think realizing I was low in B12 and I started supplementing then. Started getting into the cleansing and stuff. And now pretty much I've just eaten like a wide variety last few years, done a few mini cleanses. But I mean, that does make sense because I do know some longer term raw vegans who I'm like, oh, you don't supplement because like I think it's important. But then those ones that I think of have like done deep cleansing processes. So maybe it's right. I mean, maybe.
I mean, I always say to people, take everything with a grain of salt of what everyone says. Always feel what's right for you. Go
Mhm.
within
I
and
agree.
always go back to your instincts. Like if you're in nature, there's no supplements, there's no nothing,
Mhm.
it's
Mhm.
just you and nature. And if we were in nature, we wouldn't have the problems that we've got
That's
now.
the
Like,
thing. Like, yeah, I agree. That's why, like, I'm not in nature. I'm in the city. I live in an apartment. I'm like disconnected in a lot of ways, right? So I think it is
yeah,
different if we're in nature, we're in the soil, we're getting like the B12, we're getting the things. And yeah, I agree with that. And yeah, so sorry, carry on because I did ask you about like the protein and everything. Yeah.
yeah, definitely. Like you hit the nail on the head there. Like it's so hard if, if most people, we're living in cold climates, we're living in cities, and we're living in places where, there might not be a lot of earth connection, or it might be very cold. There might be not a lot of fruit around. And, where, like you said, it's a process to cleanse. It's not easy. It's work.
Mm-hmm.
And not a lot of people want to, I guess, face that they might need to cleanse, or hear that
Yeah.
it often trigger them. And I understand why. Hearing about the way we've been living has been, I guess, not harming us, but causing effects on our body that's not meant to be in there. And I think that's why people get deficient in some
Mm-hmm.
vitamins. The thing is with the protein, what I've discovered is I really don't think the human body needs protein at all.
Wow. Wow.
And this is coming from someone who used to have protein shakes
Yeah,
every
right?
day. It doesn't need protein. I've never felt better in my life without consuming any protein.
Wow.
I really believe that our bodies thrive on glucose.
Mm-hmm.
That's the natural form of where we get our energy from, and fructose. And I've never felt better just getting my calories from fruit and salads and avocados. Like I think there's a guy that debunked the protein. I think his name's Ted.
Ted Carr or no? I don't know.
I'm
Yeah.
not, but he got huge on
Yeah, Ted
fruitarian
Carr.
diet.
You're talking about Ted Carr. He's been on the channel before. Yeah, he's really fit. He looks really good. I interviewed him in person last year, I think it was, and yeah, he looks really good. Yeah. He's
Yeah,
built a lot of
and
muscle.
yeah, and he talks about, and I really resonated with what he said about calories are calories. If you're like, for example, if someone wanted to be big and strong, it's how you train that matters.
Mhm.
If you're getting your calories right, it doesn't matter if it's sugars or protein, you're going to get big, as
Mhm.
long as you get calories. But obviously, some calories are way healthier for us than other calories. So I really do believe, the calories from fruit are going to be a lot more healthier than the calories from animals and protein. And not to say that you won't get big and strong if you eat animals, you will. But what people don't realize is they're also going to get full of plaque and full of waste at the same time, and get
True.
severely dehydrated, and they're
Yeah.
going to age. You
Yeah.
look at any raw vegan who say, yeah, any raw vegan compared to a carnivore, the raw vegan is glowing. They're vibrant. Their skin is alive. They're hydrated. They're
And they're
full of life.
happier, and not to knock all carnivores because I know a lot of them are super nice too. Like Casey at the Vegetable Please, some of the people that follow him are just like so nice. But I think typically, like, not to toot our own horns here or anything, but I think typically the people are a bit sweeter and nicer too in this community, at least just from what I see with some of like the carnivores comments and stuff too. And just like, who knows? I might be more if I was eating all meat diet. I'm sure it would change my makeup. It would change how I am. It would change my vibe and my consciousness and my thoughts and how I live. And I probably wouldn't be as nice either. Maybe if you're, all the hormones that are in the meat, the factory farming, all this stuff that, and then like you're taking on that energy, right? And it's death. Like, I don't want it. I mean, everybody do what's right for you. It's not for me.
100%.
And that,
Every energy.
yeah, and that just makes me think like, okay, so my husband and I, we've been working things out. Everybody knows on the channel, I've talked about how we separated a few years ago. We're back together. Things are going really good. We've been together since I was 17. I'm almost 42. So it's a long relationship. I went raw vegan when I was around, I think 33 or 34. So like well into the relationship. And some people have strong opinions on that. Like somebody left a comment on my channel last week that it's basically not ethical. I shouldn't associate with people who aren't vegan, let alone be married to one. And what are your thoughts on that? Like, I disagree with that. Luckily, I put that on my Instagram And anybody who thinks vegans are the most judgmental people, no. Like, look at my Instagram posts. I think there's like 1,000 comments almost, and almost every person thought that was ridiculous. Lots of people shared they're in relationships with people that aren't vegan. They don't think you should disassociate. They think that's super judgmental. And I think so too. But at the same time, I do respect if somebody wants to only be with somebody that has the same lifestyle and like morals like that. I get that like 100%. But what are your thoughts on that? Are you in a relationship with a fellow raw vegan or vegan? And if you're single, like, would you only date vegans or raw vegans? And again, no judgment for me. I get it if you're like single and you're in that place that you would want somebody that's in the same alignment. Like, that does make sense to me too.
Yeah, my perception on that is when you think about it, being vegan, it's having compassion. You know,
Mhm.
everyone is on their journey, their own journey. And all we can focus on is ourselves and being the best version of ourselves. If someone chooses not to live the same lifestyle as we want to live, that's their choice.
Mhm.
And we have free will. Free will is so important. And you know, if someone is suffering, for example, and they might not be eating the same way as us, we can definitely explain our journey and what we went through and how we did this and that. But if they choose not to do anything about it, that's their choice, and that's fine. And I think I take my hat off to for you know, I agree with you solely 100% that you know, I would date someone if they weren't vegan because
Mhm.
if I only limit myself to associating with people who are vegan, then I'm putting a limit on myself and I'm putting a limit on what I want to experience. We're here to experience diversity. We're here to
Mhm.
experience different opinions, and our role, I think, as evolving as beings, is being able to be in the diversity and feel everything and experience everything without judgment, without labeling anything as good or bad, right or wrong. It just what is. It just
Mhm.
is what it is. And we're all here to learn. We're all learning off each other, and
Mhm.
more compassion we can have for each other and where everyone's at and what they want to experience, the better.
Mhm. Well said. I do think most cases though, like the odds are your next relationship, you'll probably attract somebody more in line like that. And like it'd be different for me maybe if like I'd been single and then on this lifestyle, but being that like we have such a history and so much love there and we started a family, I think it's different. But I do see at the same time why a lot of people who go raw or go vegan, they then attract partners in that. And like that's great too because it's like nothing's easier than that, right? If you're in the same alignment with your lifestyle, but at the same time, it works for us. My husband's great. Yesterday, when I was at the gym, he made me a big salad and he knows, and he eats so many plant foods now because of how I eat. When he's not traveling, he eats plant based at home, all the juices, smoothies, salads. So we can have such an impact on people and we don't have to push them out of our life because they don't eat like that, like eat like us or judge them. I think when we do those things, that kind of makes those people not want to eat the plants then. They think, oh, I don't want to be like that person if they're like so hateful or judgmental or creating such division, right? Like, we're all one, like, the division like that would just make them, "Okay, I don't wanna be vegan. This type of thing gives vegans a bad name," type of thing. That's what I think. Okay, and I wanted to ask you too, like, who inspires you most? Like, you've had such a journey, like, who would you say would be your go-to YouTuber or go-to book or, like, figure? Is there, like, one person that's changed your like, for me, it was Dr. Sebi, that's what led me to raw. That was who inspired me on my journey, but is there anybody who comes to mind as, like, the major inspiration for you if you had to pick one?
That's a really good question because you know there are so many amazing people out there.
Mhm.
I would have to say, out of everyone I've listened to, and I've listened to a lot of
I believe it.
people,
I believe it,
um,
especially on all your
I
different journeys.
yeah, yeah, it's been crazy, like, the amount of different perceptions and opinions. I would have to say Lauren Lockman, who has
Mm,
the water fast facility in Costa Rica. Like, he is, in my personal opinion, the definition of the healthiest way of being as a human, not just with the way he eats and the way he's cleansed himself and thousands of others, but, you know, he's in alignment, he's calm. When you hear him talk, he's very calm. He
mhm.
doesn't judge. He listens to what the other person says, and his knowledge is just unbelievable, in my
Yeah,
personal opinion.
I've
So,
interviewed
yeah,
him, so I'll put that interview on the screen at the end of this video in case you guys wanna watch it, and I'll link it down below. And yeah, I think that's the key, like, I love the people well, I love everyone, But I love when people don't judge, no matter what their lifestyle. It's just I love that. And I know like everything isn't all food. Like our keys to our health, it is not just all food. There's so much more to it. So what would you say are some of the keys to keeping you healthy and the keys in your opinion to reaching optimal health in other areas, like other things you do to obtain like great health and happiness?
100%. I think a calm nervous system goes a very, very long way, and being very aware of your thoughts and being okay with your thoughts. Don't be afraid of your thoughts. Feel everything. Sometimes we have thoughts that aren't very comfortable and not very nice,
Mhm.
or we think into the future or we think into the past, and it creates anxiety or depression. But just remember, we are energy. Everything on this planet is energy, and it's vibrating at a certain frequency along with our food. Like you were saying before, you eat certain food, it's got a certain vibrational frequency, and that's going to affect your body. So when you have thoughts that aren't comfortable, or if you have anxiety, or if you feel like you're getting stressed, just remember that's not who you are. It's just energy moving through you. Okay. Energy is constantly moving through us.
Mhm.
Sometimes it's comfortable, sometimes it's uncomfortable. So just be aware of how you feel, and don't judge it, don't label it. Just breathe. Breathe, because the deeper your breath, okay, and this is why breath work is a huge thing for me as well. The deeper your breath and the more you can get into breathing properly through the nose, nasal breathing, it's going to calm your nervous system. If your nervous system is constantly in fight or flight and you're stressed, that is going to have a huge impact on your health, a
Mhm.
huge impact. So definitely 100%. I couldn't agree with you more. It's not all food. It is definitely not all food.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, and just back to food for 1 second, because I thought some people might wonder or ask, do you know how many calories you eat in a day or do you track it? I mean, I don't typically track mine, but some people ask, like, do you know? If not, it's no worries at all because I don't either. But
No, I think
yeah,
that's another program. Never,
yeah,
never will again.
just listen to your body, right? Like the great thing is with this lifestyle, you can eat in abundance too. Like, especially if you're getting started, you can eat a lot and typically you're still gonna like lose weight if you need to or reach like optimal levels of health. It's not something you have to, in my opinion, like super restrict. And I can feel you're calm. You feel like you have a calm nervous system. You feel like you have really good energy. Was it always that way or no?
Oh no, no, no. I was, yeah, like I don't even know the old version of me. Like I wouldn't. Most people, yeah, it's just a completely different person. Um, I was always living in the future, worrying about the next big thing, the next swell. If I was chasing waves, or I was not aware. I was not consciously aware of my thoughts. I had no idea about energy, law of attraction,
Mhm.
anything. So this whole path, I suppose, see the journey into raw foods. It's just been everything. You discover yourself, you discover the spiritual side of things, you feel certain energies, you start seeing numbers, you start seeing lights, and start like
Mhm.
things, supernatural things happen to you that if I started talking about it in a normal conversation with, I guess, people living like the old me, they'd think I belong in the mental institution. You can
Mhm. Yeah.
you
Yeah, I
have these
get it.
conversations with certain people. So yeah.
Yeah, and I'm all into the law of attraction too. I think I was a little actually I was into it before I went raw because I remember I read The Secret way back, way before being raw. It totally changed my life. But have you noticed differences in your level of attracting things then on this lifestyle, especially being someone where you're not chasing things, you're just being super present and feeling good. To me, that's probably kind of like the ultimate way of attracting to you a great life and attracting things. So have you noticed any differences in that or no?
Definitely, 100%. And again, I think this goes back to the nervous system. People are always attracting, but a lot of the times they're attracting by default. They're attracting a lot of things that are unwanted because they're in fight or flight, or they're dwelling on negative thoughts, whatnot. So they're attracting things in that they don't want. But once this is why getting calm, and the food, the frequency, it calms you. Your nervous system will be calm. You'll just start being. We're human beings. We're meant to just be and
Mhm.
just relax, and just observe what's around you. And you learn so many things on this way of life. You'll learn so many things on a water fast, and just eating fruit and being thankful that this fruit's on this planet and that this how vibrant and tasteful it is, and you can feel the water hydrating your cells. It's just things happen to you that so many things happen to you. You know what it's like, and you can't
Mhm.
put it in words. People have to experience it for themselves.
True, and you're right, we are human beings. That made me realize I have to start being more of a human being and not such a human doer. I'm just like, "Go, go, go." We need more time to just, like, be and chill and relax and, not chase, and that's just when things come to us and we just feel great anyway. Because we are just enough on our own, right? We don't have to, like, go, 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 do all these million things. And this has been such a great talk. Is there anything else you think I've missed about your journey that you wanna share or anything, like, you feel called to share with the audience before we end off?
I don't
And
think we've
also
missed.
let everybody know sorry to interrupt you. Also let everybody know where they can find you. I don't know if you're on social media. I have to follow you if you are too, but let us know where they can find you if you want people to reach out or follow you.
Yeah, sure. So I've got two Instagram pages.
Okay.
One all about, and they're two, they're similar, but they're different. So
Mhm.
one is all about the foods, all about healing, detoxing, water fasting, juice cleansing,
Mhm.
all about how you can start healing the avatar, the physical vessel.
Mhm.
And on the other side, my other Instagram page is all about, I guess, energy, vibration, meditation, breath work, movement, all of that side of things. So one deals with the spiritual and one
Mhm.
deals with more the body, the physical. So I've actually just started the food one. So that's
Mhm.
called I actually have to get I can't even remember the name.
You don't need it. I'll link it below. So everybody, I always put every guest information in the description box below this video. So if you click more on the description, it'll show everything and then I'll put all your links there. So just give me the links after that maybe and I'll put everything there.
Amazing. Sounds good.
Yeah. Okay. And yeah, anything else to share? If there's not too, that's okay. But if there's anything else you want to share about your journey or anything you get asked often that you think we've missed or just any inspiration that comes to mind or anything at all. And if not, then that's okay too.
I think we've pretty much covered most things. I
Mhm.
think, yeah, there was one final thing that I had to, I guess, say to people is always go within and intuitively think for yourself. Go back to your instincts and listen to everybody and observe. You know, even what we've spoken about tonight. Like, don't take it as
Mhm.
don't believe. You know, just take it with a grain of salt. See how it makes you
Mm.
feel and just take what resonates from each person. Everyone's got something very unique to say. So that's what I would probably
Yeah.
say to
I
everyone.
love that. So true. Great words of advice. Very non-dogmatic and I love that. And do you have a favorite quote?
Ah, not off the top of my head,
No,
no.
that's okay. I've put you on the spot a lot, and you've done well. This has
Yeah.
been amazing. It's been such a nice talk with you. You've just really enlightened me, and I love your attitude, just your non-judgmental attitude. You have great aura and really calm energy. And it's been nice to hear your journey because it's been quite a journey from all the meat eating to the vegan diet, to carnivore. And you said you
Mm.
even would have raw milk and stuff. So did you have one more thing, did you ever do any parasite cleanses on this journey? I did in 2019. I did an enema just because I think I saw a video about plaque. I think I watched a Marcus Rothkrantz, his enema video is my favorite enema video on YouTube. I'll put it below. And I think he was talking about like getting the crap out and I just thought, okay, let's see what comes out at me. And then I saw parasites and I looked really healthy at the time. I had no symptoms. You would have no idea. And I never would have saw them if it wasn't for the enemas. So I was like, what the heck? Then I went on a parasite cleanse with the foods, pineapple, garlic, papaya seeds, pumpkin seeds, onion, herbs, and did a full cleanse. But did you do any cleanse along the way?
So I've definitely done some enemas. I think
Mm-hmm.
enemas are very helpful at
Mm-hmm.
remove, anything in the gut, whether they be
Mm-hmm.
parasites or plaque. I haven't done, I would say, I've done things along the way to remove them. So I also believe parasites, and this is not spoken about much, but parasites definitely have a very big, there's a spiritual connection with parasites, which is a whole nother conversation, which I won't go into now.
Yeah.
I really do believe you can kill them. Obviously, with cleansers, papaya seeds, and things like that, you can do things like in your everyday life to kill them as well. But I think there are some people out there that definitely do need to do cleansers and there's some really good companies out there. I don't know any off the top of my head, but I'll be able to find them
You know
out.
what
But
I just bought the one from Marcus Rothkrantz. If you guys go to Marcus Rothkrantz website, he probably still sells it. It's called Parasite Free, and it's like an herbal thing. They're very powerful though when you do parasite cleanses. So be careful. They're very potent. It's not easy. So like go into it with caution, do a lot of research, make sure it's the right thing for you, and just realize like these herbs are super potent and it's not an easy experience to cleanse them. Just to say it on my
100%. It's not easy. It's very tough on your emotions. And this is what I was saying before, how they have a connection with our emotions. One thing I will say on that as well, which I think is very important, is, and again, take this with a grain of salt. Everyone's got to do what resonates. But I would really focus on removing plaque before doing parasite cleanses. And the reason being is because if your GI tract is full of waste, which a lot of people on this planet are, if
Mhm,
you go straight to a parasite cleanse, you'll kill the parasites, but then you'll have a bunch of dead parasites stuck in your GI tract.
mhm.
And that's going to have a very, very big impact on your emotions, which is another
True.
conversation.
Good
So, yeah.
point. Good point, Dom. You know a lot. This has been amazing. Well, I want to thank you for coming on. I just have loved hearing about your journey and I want to stay on top of it too. I'll follow you. Everybody go follow Dom. I'll put it down below. And I maybe we'll have you back in a year. We'll see what's going on. We'll get some updates and just stay on top of things, see what's happening. I'm glad you're experiencing such positive changes in your life and like everything's going good. And I just want to say too, I'll put the Lauren Lockman interview on the screen right now. I'll also put an interview with Eli Martyr on the screen since we kind of been touching on Fruitarian. He's one of my friends here in Toronto. He is a pretty long-term Fruitarian too. So you guys can check out what he's doing, learn his story, and let me know your guys' story. What do you eat? Let me know down below. How's it going for you? And we love everybody on this channel, even if you're not vegan, even if you're not like us. We're just here to inspire you to eat more plants or do whatever feels right for you. Give this video a thumbs up, subscribe so you don't miss more awesome ones like this. See you in the next one. Bye.